What's going on, guys? Happy New Year. Hope everyone had a good holiday. Here in Ohio, it's been abnormally warm. We're talking mid to upper 60s in the end of December and early January, which is really strange. Normally at this point in time, we are lucky if we're out of the 30s, if not negative 30. But anyway, I was watching a video on YouTube the other day by this guy named North Borders. He's an Australian photographer. If you haven't heard of him, go check him out. I'll have a link down below for him. But he was doing some really neat car photography. And I got to thinking, I've never done car photography. I mean, I've done models in cars, models on cars, but not actual cars. So I thought, what the heck, let's give it a shot. So I hopped in the Jeep and I drove down to Caesars Creek. Went up and down every side street they had there trying to find somewhere I could get close to the lake, and there was nothing. Every one of them either had like a giant marina or big concrete ramps with power lines, and right as I'm about to leave, there's this little like dirt parking area, and I'm like, okay, let's check it out. I'm already all the way out here. So I drove down that way a little bit, and there's a little hand launch ramp area that you can use for canoes or kayaks or whatever. That was perfect. And you can drive right up onto the water, and if you're stupid, you could drive right into the water. But anyway, we did this as a location scouting. I was planning to do a shoot later on, and I still am, where I'll bring actual lighting and equipment and plan it out. But I brought the camera with me on this one just to take a few test shots, and I'm glad I did. We got something that turned out really cool. So we stood around for about an hour and a half, taking a few shots, waiting for the sunset. And right as the sun started setting and you'd start to get those neat skies, all the clouds disappeared. So we still got some okay shots. I mean, it was just a meh sunset, wasn't bad. But if you haven't heard, there's this new update for Luminar called Luminar 4. What Luminar 4 allows you to do is, in one click basically, replace the sky in your image. Now, some people consider this cheating or fake photography. And yeah, if I was like doing this for a client or, selling it as an art print or something, I wouldn't do something like that. But as just a fun, put it on Instagram and, kind of save you in a pinch when you had a missed sky like I had, it's pretty cool. So let's jump into the computer here and I'll show you how it works. All right, guys. So as you can see here, this is my shot. And it's not bad. I mean, you got a little bit of color in the sky, but nothing particularly crazy. So how could we spice this up a bit? Take it from just a kind of normal, bland photo into something cool. Well, we ended up with this. Okay, so now that's drastically different. I mean, look at the clouds on this. So how do we do that? Super simple. You take your picture, you go to edit in, Luminar 4. Once this launches up. Over here on the right, you have the creative panel, and underneath that you have AI sky replacement. Now watch this crazy stuff. You literally can come down the list, pick a sky. So since this was sunset, I didn't want to do something like bright blue sky, but you can see what it does. That's actually not too crazy, but it just doesn't match with kind of the look we were going for, with the sunset going and the light coming from the wrong direction. But if you come down here into some of these dramatic skies, they work. And you can zoom in here and see along the lines here. I mean, it does a really good job at finding where it's supposed to be. So we ended up going with something like this, a dramatic sunset 7. You can also download new skies. They have some you can purchase. You can load your own custom skies if you have your own pictures you've already taken. From there, you have the options. You can do this relight scene, where you can kind of play around with where the light's coming from, how bright it is, you know, how you want it to blend into your horizon, you know, the position of where you want it to be. If you go under advanced here, you got closed gaps, which will find the gaps in your skies and kind of fill them in. But there's a lot of things you can do in here. You can work on how in focus it is if you were shooting at a really shallow depth of field. You can warm it up or cool it down depending on what you're going for. But anyway, it's personal preference. It's all up to you. But that's it. That is how super easy it is to replace the sky now. There's no more drawing a mask in Photoshop and try to go around branches, you know, trying to make it look legit. But anyway, we're going to cancel that because I've already done it. But once you're back into Lightroom, you know, this was my image. Obviously, I went through and played with some of the exposure and brought down the highlights, etc. But it's all personal preference. It's super easy. And once you get in there, I mean, it even does a good job of making reflections in the water. I mean, it does a fantastic job. So for something quick, easy that you're just going to throw on Instagram, it's absolutely fantastic. So let me know if you have any questions. Okay, so as you can see, that was super easy to replace the sky. Turns out really cool. You know, I'd probably recommend that if you're really going to do stuff like that, you go out and take pictures of your own sky. Otherwise, everybody that's using Luminar is going to have the exact same couple skies. But yeah, it was pretty fun. It turned out pretty cool. And when you just have a, you know, meh sunset like I did that night, especially one where you've drove a couple hours and you stood around a couple hours, you know, you don't want to walk away with nothing to show. It's pretty cool. But anyway, here in the near future, plan to do a real shoot out there with some strobes and some lighting. I also have a guy with a Lotus Elise that, I hope I'm saying that right. That car's a little out of my price range. But he's willing to get together with us, go downtown and do some more urban cityscape pictures. So I got to do some location scouting for that too. But all that's coming up. I'm going to try to really get some more meaty videos this year, I guess. And you know, hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. And hit me up if you have any questions.